These no-bake peanut butter oatmeal cookies are going to be delicious. I'm using a recipe by livewellbakeoften.com. I believe the person who runs that website is named Danielle. Looks like a lot of great recipes on that site, so be sure to check it out. There are a lot of versions of this no-bake cookie recipe on the internet and on YouTube, like Monique from Divas Can Cook and John Cannell of Preppy Kitchen. A lot of the recipes are very similar, but I decided to give this one a try. What I liked about it is that Danielle gave ingredient amounts in both measurements of volume and weight. And if you watch my channel, you know I like to use grams. Some of the gram amounts were different than what I would have used when I measure things like peanut butter and oats and things like that. But if you're ever in doubt, I would always go with the amount in grams given by the person who wrote the recipe. So this is what's on the ingredient list. A half stick of butter, a half cup of milk, 120 grams, 1 3/4 cups of sugar, 350 grams, 3/4 cup of creamy peanut butter, 190 grams. I have 3 1/4 cup or 325 grams of quick cooking oats, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt, probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So the recipe starts out by melting the butter, sugar, and milk over medium heat. So that is what I will do first. I also wanted to add that off to the side, I have a cookie sheet with wax paper. The basic gist of the recipe is that we're going to mix everything together on the stove and then drop the mixture by spoonfuls onto the cookie sheet, and then the cookies will harden there. So make sure everything is ready to go before you get started. This, like a lot of other recipes, moves very quickly, and if you are scrambling, there's a chance that things will get away from you. So make sure that everything is ready to go before you start. As you can see, I added the butter, the sugar, and the milk to the saucepan. I'm now melting everything together on medium heat, guess mark 3 out of 6, while stirring frequently. Once everything is melted together, I'm going to wait until it comes to a rolling boil. It's going to be boiling very vigorously, the surface covered in bubbles. Then I will time it for 1 minute. And once the minute is up, I will then add my other ingredients. As you can see, everything is melted now. I forgot to set the timer to tell you how long it will take to reach a rolling boil. I'm guessing it's been maybe 5 minutes to this point. But it is definitely starting to get there. Like I said, I'm looking for a rolling boil. Everything's covered with bubbles, and I think we are there now. So I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute. While still stirring. So now this has been at a rolling boil for about 1 minute and 15 seconds. So I'm going to shut that off, shut off the heat. Now I'm going to add some other ingredients. Here's my 3/4 cup of peanut butter, and as you can see, it is on plastic. I think it'll be easier to add that way, because cleaning a bowl that it has had peanut butter in it is very difficult. Maybe I should not have done this, because plastic, when it gets, I don't know if the word wet is the correct word for it, but it can be hard to scrape. I was trying to find a way to make this easier, but I think I just created more, as the Argentines would say, more quilombo for myself. So on second thought, do not do this. Whoops. Did not mean for that to fall in. It is now in. Going to stir the peanut butter into this mixture so that it melts in. Now I'm also going to stir in the oatmeal. I am using quick cooking oats. People online said that if you use old-fashioned rolled oats, that is not ideal for this recipe. So like what Danielle said on her website, maybe put them in a food processor or something like that. Even though I like rolled oats, for this recipe, try to use quick cooking. As you can see, this comes together pretty easily. Once everything is incorporated, I am going to add a touch of salt and some vanilla. And like I said earlier in the video of this no-bake peanut butter oatmeal cookie recipe, if the measurement in grams is a bit different from what you had expected, I would use the amount given in the recipe, not what you think it should be. So I was watching, can't remember, I don't think it was America's Test Kitchen, it was something else where they had people measure flour by the cup and then they measured it in grams, and people varied very significantly. What one person considers to be a cup of flour could be way off from what another person considers to be a cup of flour. So it's something to consider. If I give you an amount of flour or sugar in grams that's different from what you learn to be a cup or half a cup of something, please go with what I give you, because that is how I measure. This is coming together nicely. Now I'm gonna make sure you have a towel or something to wipe your hands. I'm gonna add a touch of, I almost said sugar, a touch of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon. Not necessary, but I think a little bit of salt's gonna help here. And then I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Vanilla, I just think, makes almost all sweets better. And your vanilla you want to add towards the end, because since it has alcohol, the heat, if you add it in the beginning, it will cause the vanilla to burn off. So if you like a strong vanilla flavor, add the vanilla last. Now it's time to spoon out the no-bake peanut butter oatmeal cookies. I'm just going to use a teaspoon. I'm pretty sure in the recipe Danielle recommends 1.5 tablespoons in terms of the amount of batter we'll say per cookie. But I remember one of the last times I made cookies, each heaping teaspoonful that I made was actually 1.5 tablespoons. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to scoop them out like that. And honestly, I think that the amount that you put in each cookie is not as critical with these, because they're no bake, so they're not going to go into the oven, and you're not going to have to worry about the cooking time changing. I think as long as they're about this size that I'm making them, you'll be okay. You don't want them to be too small, because if they're too small, they probably won't have enough to hold it together. You don't want them to be too big, or else then I'm afraid that they might be too big to stay together as well. I'm not sure on that. But these look to be about what most people make with these. This smells incredible. It reminds me of peanut butter Rice Krispie treats. So if you like those, I think you will like these as well. Well, I'm also going to flatten these out just a tad. Make them more cookie-like. My no-bake peanut butter oatmeal cookies have been resting for a little over an hour now, and I'm ready to transfer them to a plate. They set up very nicely. As you can see, I can pull them off of the parchment paper and they do not fall apart. Absolutely nice, absolutely perfect. These are the first batch. This is the second batch. I think the second batch, they actually set up a little bit quicker. I think it's because I made them maybe a little bit smaller, and I think that the mix itself had more time to cool down. But as you can see, I boiled the sugar and butter for the perfect amount of time. If yours do not set up, if they're soft, then that, from the research I did, that means that you did not boil them for long enough. If they don't set up, you can put them in the refrigerator, or what Danielle said is she's heard of people putting them in the, let's see if I can refocus. She's heard of people putting them in the microwave for a few seconds. So that may help as well. As you can see, these no-bake peanut butter oatmeal cookies came together really easily. The key, I think, is to know when to start the 1 minute countdown. And I actually boiled it for 1 minute and 15 seconds. So I'm going to take some more close-up pictures, and I'm also going to try one. Let's see if I can take this one and refocus. You can see nice and soft on the inside. They're almost like a type of peanut butter candy, almost like peanut butter fudge. If you're looking for an easy no-bake cookie recipe, you definitely want to give these a try. How many did I get? I forgot to even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 cookies. If you make them a bit smaller, more towards the 1 tablespoon, you'll probably get 2 dozen. Like I already said, these no-bake peanut butter oatmeal cookies were incredibly easy to make and also incredibly delicious. Although you might not be looking for recipes that fit special diets, this cookie recipe is also coincidentally flourless, gluten-free, and egg-free. So a lot of people will be able to enjoy it. This no-bake cookie recipe surprised me by how easy it was to make and how delicious it was. So I hope that you give it a try. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.